We got into this a little bit yesterday, but now I think we have more time to really kind of dive into it. We had the report from Shams Charania yesterday that there was mutual interest around the trade deadline between Kevin Durant, the Suns, and Minnesota, Miami, Houston, San Antonio, and New York were the 5 teams.
Yes.
Let me play some of the Shams audio from Pat McAfee yesterday to kind of set this up.
There's going to be changes coming to Phoenix, barring a miracle finish to the year. There's going to be a lot that they're going to have to look at to evaluate throughout the organization. But from a roster perspective, that's going to start with Kevin Durant and potentially finding him a new home. Unlike at the trade deadline when he was almost traded to the Warriors, the Suns, Kevin Durant, they would work together on any trade.
There's more from Shams.
But I can tell you guys this. Back at the NBA trade deadline, there were a list of teams that there was mutual interest with Kevin Durant and those teams, from my understanding. And that's Minnesota, that's New York, that's Houston, San Antonio, Miami.
Okay.
Those are the types of teams, from my understanding, that had interest then. And I expect them all to be in the mix this offseason.
How each of these teams finish, though, is really going to determine how hard they go after KD. Wouldn't you agree with that, Luke?
Yeah. I do. I agree with that because, maybe San Antonio would be the one that I would say they're going to probably still go after him either way because I don't think they're going to finish strong.
Yeah.
But yes, anybody else. And there's nuance to that, right? If you're the Rockets and you make it to the Western Conference Finals, but you don't get past that, how do you not look around and say, man, a Kevin Durant on this team would push us over the top?
No, absolutely. I think if I had to pick one team from that list that Shams just read, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to believe that it's the Houston Rockets. That really makes the most sense. That is the best trade partner, I think, that the Suns could possibly hope for.
Well, Kendrick Perkins agrees with you.
When you think about the young core that they have Jalen Green, they have a Tari Eason, they have a Jabari Smith, right? And you could package up those guys and get a Kevin Durant in there to pair alongside Alfred Şengün, Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet. Now you have that closer, because what's going to happen this postseason is that the Rockets, and it's not a slight to them, it's because of their youth, they're going to get exposed this postseason for not having that guy to take them home. Yeah. Kevin Durant comes in and he becomes that guy. And we know he has a special relationship with Ime Udoka. He has the respect for Ime Udoka. I'm looking at that relationship. It's a perfect match.
It makes all the sense in the world for the Rockets. It makes all the sense in the world for Kevin Durant. I want KD to land somewhere good, but I don't really care about the Rockets, and I care more about the Suns than anybody that's involved here. The question to me is how does it work for the Suns? Because if you look at Houston and you look at Şengün and Jalen Green and Amen Thompson and Jabari Smith, those guys, they're great young players. You're not going to get any of them. If Houston's going for it, they want to add Kevin Durant to that group. So that's why that news from Shams to me was so big yesterday, is there's got to be more than one team that's in the bidding for Kevin Durant. And you could say, obviously teams are going to want KD. No, but there's got to be more than one realistic trade partner for Kevin Durant. There's got to be teams he would sign off on, because if it's just one team bidding against themselves, you're going to trade Kevin Durant for your former first-round picks.
Right.
That's not going to make you better.
That's not going to be enough. No. How about this? What if I told you that you're going to get 2 first-round picks for him and Amen Thompson? Would you be okay?
I would be stunned, and I would do it.
Okay.
At this point, because I'm assuming he's not coming back.
Yes. For me, once again, that would be something I'd be very, very interested in. And there's a lot of young players for the Houston Rockets. They've got a lot of young guns. And I think KD would fit right in. I really do, because he doesn't have to lead. He doesn't have to do that. They already have guys that are leaders inside that clubhouse. For me, what I love with Amen Thompson, Amen, don't say Amen, say Amen Thompson.
Okay.
For me,
all right.
The defense that he brings. He is such a really, really good defensive player. They get with the young guys, to me, he's the best defensive player out on the wing you could possibly hope for. Now, I understand it's going to be really, really tough, but Jalen Green averages 7 more points a game than he does.
Yeah, they are loaded with young talent. I tend to agree with what Perk just said right there. I think they're going to get exposed is kind of a strong word, but I don't take them seriously as a title contender this year. they are built in such a way where they could take out a team or two. Like, they are a good team, Houston. But I do think when you talk about how these teams finish is going to matter in terms of what they're willing to give up for Kevin Durant. I think Houston is the one I look at the most when you say that, because I think we're going to see a really good basketball team in the playoffs realize, like Perk just said, they don't have that guy. You need, if you're serious about winning a title, you need to have a Kevin Durant or a Jokic or a Tatum or somebody like that. Houston, and we've seen teams like this before that are really good. They're really good, like a fun team, but they don't have that guy. And in the playoffs, that does tend to come back and bite you at some point.
The other thing I like about it as well is the fact that no matter who they get, what young players they might get from Houston, they're coming from an old school environment. An old school environment right now with Udoka as their coach. I love that.
Yeah.
That to me is
that's when it flipped.
It is. It's something that it's one of the reasons why I love the young players from the Rockets as well. And also, you listen to Perk right there talking about the relationship that KD has with Udoka.
Here's more from Shams, this time from NBA Today.
Matt Ishbia, the Suns owner, has shown already in his ownership that he's aggressive. He's willing to make moves. He's going to make a million swings as Suns owner. But this iteration of Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker just has not worked. And so roster-wise, the changes that are likely coming to Phoenix likely start with Kevin Durant. And who out there in the NBA believes they're a Kevin Durant away? I think the playoffs are going to play a big factor in which team gets eliminated early, which team might feel like if they bring in KD, they could be a step away.
See, the Ishbia part's interesting to me too, Wolf, because it's easy to fall into the trap of like, well, we're just going to trade Kevin Durant. That'll make us better. Addition by subtraction. You better get something back for Kevin Durant. Otherwise, you're going to be a 22-win team again next year. Not again like recently, but we've seen it before. We saw what a team was that was some guys and Devin Booker, and that's a team that wins in the 20s in the Western Conference right now, especially. So you have to get something back. I can't imagine Matt Ishbia is going to just trade one of the greatest scorers of all time for a few picks that, again, are not guaranteed to be the first pick or top 3 or top 5. They might just be like the 8th or 9th or 12th or 14th pick. Like, you're not going to get anything with that. They're scratch tickets, so you got to get more than that.
Yeah. Would you be okay, by way of example right here, since we're throwing out all sorts of deals, possibly, would you be okay with 2 first-round picks from the Rockets and Jalen Green?
Yeah, if the Rockets, see what you're saying, if the Rockets give me 2 first-round picks and one of their, like, really good 4 young players, then I'm very interested. I don't believe they're going to do that because I don't think they believe they have to. But that's where the idea that there are other teams with mutual interest comes into play.
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why if you're the Phoenix Suns, you're going to posture right now for the rest of the season. You truly are. You're going to posture that we don't need to move KD. I don't know what you're talking about.
KD, what?
We don't need to move
signed,
him. Yeah. What are you talking about? You think we have to move KD? What are you, nuts? We don't have to move him.
I tell you.
Seriously, that is going to be organizational. You're going to start seeing that posture.
Why wouldn't you? Wouldn't you use the posturing along those lines if you were dealing with just Houston as an example? And Houston's like, here, we'll give you some firsts. But we're not giving you any of our key players. We'll give you like our 7th guy off the bench who's young.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be like, okay, I got Minnesota on the other line. I got not San Antonio.
That's why your point is so spot on about this. You need one other team. You need
at least one team. Yeah. And because the other thing that you can use if you're the Suns is like, look, if I'm just trading for picks, I'm going to suck next year anyway. I can just keep KD. You can burn through your window and go ahead and lose to Denver in the playoffs again. Like, the Suns should be able to leverage this a little bit because they have the biggest asset in the actual trade that they're going to make.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.